Hey guys, Vicky Keenan here from MSP Tag. I am here today with Paul Daigle, and I'm going to talk with him a little bit about how he successfully exited his MSP. This is Live with Five. And Paul is a 20 plus year experienced executive coach, fractional operator of companies. He's been on many public and private boards, most of them served as board chair. And he has managed budgets exceeding 140 million and assets over 600 million. He has rolled up 130 million of high-tech organizations, and he specializes in turnaround, restructure, pivoting, scaling, and growing. Paul, welcome. We are really excited to talk with you about how you exited your MSP. So tell us, first of all, a little bit about you. How and why did you start your MSP?
Well, I started my MSP because initially I was a VAR. I was selling parts and pieces, selling computers, some networking equipment and stuff, and just got tired of, just selling equipment and then waiting for the customer to have a problem with the equipment and then rolling out a truck to fix that equipment. That's counterproductive. Where an MSP, you align the business goals of the MSP along with the business goals of the client, where you're paid to keep everything up and operational. And you don't wait till it's reached critical mass and you just have to replace the machine. Rather, if you baby it and you take care of it, they'll last longer. They'll be a lot more productive, and it's planned obsolescence rather than things just breaking down.
Sure. And the initial issues, we all have initial issues when we're starting any business. An MSP is no different. Migrating from a VAR to an MSP. Tell us a little bit about those kind of hiccups you had along the way.
Yeah, a lot of times as a VAR, your technicians, are fed and they run by, a pat on the back. They go on site and they fix the problem. Oh, you did a great job. Thank you very much. Here's a check. And then a technician for an MSP gets paid for keeping the computers up and operational, where you're not in front of the customer. And so it was a paradigm shift for technicians. And so, we had to replace, about like 15 technicians once we realized that we wanted to be an MSP, because, they needed that fulfillment of being in front of the customer. And, when you're a VAR, I needed one technician to be available for every 50 devices that our customers would have. Now, as an MSP, you're sitting back and you have one technician for every 350 devices, whether they be, PCs, notebooks, servers, routers, switches, any of that type of stuff. And so, being that, our business goals align with our customer goals of keeping the stuff up and operational and not interfacing or interfering with their business operations on a day-to-day basis, that works out really good. And, not only that is the financial side also. You're making monies on every device that you're maintaining on a monthly basis. And the MSP can predict their revenues a lot easier and scale their growth easier, and eventually, get to some sort of exit, whether the exit is to family, whether it's to private equity, or whether it's an acquisition from a big organization. But, when it comes down to, running a good MSP, it's all about the procedures, the KPIs, and everything else, and leveraging that one technician for every 350 to even up to 500 devices.
Yeah, absolutely. And you did touch on hiring techs and the importance of all that, but want to talk a little bit about how you scaled your MSP to the point of, you thought, well, this is actually, we're onto a good thing. Things are kind of moving along. You were moving from one peer group to the next peer group. Tell us a little bit more about how you managed to do that. What did you do to achieve that scale?
Yeah, well, we put in remote management tools, CRM, and remote management tools, PSAs. So we do reportings and stuff like that. But, when we put in tools to properly manage an MSP, And once we finally selected one that we liked, that worked well with our business model, which is another challenge,
Yeah.
you know, then hiring technicians was fairly simple and fairly easy because everything was documented, everything had a procedure on it and everything else. As a
Yeah.
bar, each technician has their own specialty and everything else. And by standardizing stuff and where you go to the first level and second level tech support, and the only time and that handled about 95% of the issues, and only about 5 to 10% had to go to level 3 support. And so, it's just a documentation, it's in using proactive technology to detect if something's going bad. It's amazing. You can detect if a computer's going bad, anywhere from, 2-3 months ahead of time to the day that it actually goes bad and it won't start anymore, or the hard drive got totally corrupted and there's no saving it and stuff like that. So, using proactive tools is very important. And with Bytes, Bits, and Megabytes, when we did it, we had to make our own tools. We created our own PSA.
You didn't have
them
back
and
in
then we did a lot of white label branding, and then also BDRs. We made our own BDRs, our own phone systems boxes, our own routers and stuff like that. Because it was what was available in the MSP space. Data wasn't around. There's a lot of these big conglomerates nowadays that they weren't around, and they didn't have it as detailed and as specific as we wanted. And again, we wanted to get to that 300, 350 mark for one technician. And the only way to do it is to use the preactive tools and then self-healing tools.
Okay. And tell me a little bit more about, a lot about upselling, and you have the clients in place, but you want to maybe upsell them or really help them out a little bit more with their business. How did you go about adding to your MSP stack so you could really, help out the existing clients you had and provide them even more value than what you were providing them already?
Yeah, a lot of times that was directed just specifically by the client. Hey, can you do this? Oh, can you do that? It's like taking care of printers. The day of buying a big $20,000 copier and making it an office printer, those days are kind of come and gone. But people still buy them because their salespeople are better than probably any MSP out there. And so, asking to help with printers. If my ink gets low. That used to be outsourced to somebody else, to these people that did printer refills or cartridge refills. But, these businesses want to concentrate on their business of selling and servicing their widget. And they want to take all the IT and anything related to IT and give it to an outsourced organization that has the expertise, from the low expertise all the way up to the high expertise, to just take care of everything for me. So you got the copiers, you got phone systems. Phone systems came through now, VoIP and everything else. And everything within an office all has an IP address. And so it's just providing the customers what they wanted. Sometimes they had their industry specific software, and they needed people to really understand that software. I always kept 2 or 3 people trained up on, whether attorney software, manufacturing software, CPA software, and just did everything and try to be that one neck to choke for our customers.
I agree. It's important to speak the industry language and not bamboozle them with tech talk. That's a fantastic.
No, they just want the freaking thing to work.
That's it. Just make it work.
Well, Vicky, this is a question for you.
Okay.
When something becomes unpredictable, like say your car.
Yeah.
If it becomes unpredictable, you go to start it on Monday and she doesn't start. You have to replace the battery. You go to start it on Tuesday, the starter went bad. You go start it on Wednesday, your radiator went bad. What are you going to do with that car on Thursday?
We'll have to get a new car, but
there you go.
Yeah.
And that's what you do with technology. Things need to be predictable. Not only the technology, but the MSP providing the services, because they should know beforehand when things are about to fail.
Yeah.
or at least have a plan in place. So if things fail, they can do it, like backup disaster recovery plans,
Sure.
replacing servers, at the colos and all that kind of fun stuff, and be
Hmm.
redundant so they can keep their core business operational, so they can still afford to keep their business going. And better yet, pay the MSP for doing a good job.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Paul, last question. Um, Everyone wants to know, you successfully exited your MSP I want to say a few years ago. We won't show your
Yeah.
age off that much. How can people follow in your footpath? How can they like mirror what you did if they want to successfully, we all want to get to the point where we can exit our businesses and just go forth. How can they do that?
Yeah, I get asked that question a lot, Vicky,
Hmm.
from a lot
Absolutely.
of other MSPs in cybersecurity and SaaS organizations. The whole
Yeah.
thing is you got to write it down. If you don't write
SOPs.
it
Yeah.
down, and the things you need to write down is you need to baseline where you are today. Very
Hmm.
much what you're doing in an organization, you're baselining their computer operations,
Yeah.
and then you're setting stuff on, you're setting projects, poems and stuff like that in the future
Hmm.
to stay ahead of technology, and to keep technology as something that people use, and that multiplies the efforts and the
Yeah.
hours that the people actually using it are
Hmm.
doing. So you got to measure where you are. You need, ideally, find somebody that's been there, done that in your industry,
Yeah.
and call them up for help every now and then.
Yeah. People
Uh,
love to help. Absolutely.
you got to ask for help.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Imagine you have these issues, and it might be the first time you've seen it or the second time you've seen it. Imagine
Hmm.
if you teamed up with someone that's already seen it 20, 30 times in their
Absolutely.
own organization and
Yeah.
other organizations, on how to overcome that. And you overcome it, and you go on with your day, and you
Hmm.
succeed. But also doing KPIs,
Yeah.
measurements against your employees.
Hmm.
Yeah, going from a VAR to an MSP. It gave me the tools to measure. How
Yeah.
many billable hours am I getting per technician,
Hmm.
and at what level? Then how much? And then for doing office, for doing inside type of work, with building, routers, switches, phone systems, servers, racks, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff that we kind of eat that time to get it out to the customer and
Sure.
provide it to them basically at cost, so we can charge them the recurring revenue on a monthly basis to keep on going. And
So, top
so,
three things to measure, Paul. What would you say to an MSP? Those top three things to measure in your business, in your MSP. What would you think?
got to measure your revenue that you
Hmm.
that you currently have.
Yep.
Measure how much your cost is, and then
Yep.
measure the productivity you're getting from everyone.
Awesome. Awesome. And anything further on your exit?
No, on the exit, it's when you're running a smooth operating organization with
Hmm.
standard software, with the standard PSAs, RMMs,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Your business is worth, a few clicks, a little bit more than
Yeah.
somebody else that's not using it. But the
For
thing
sure.
is if for those MSPs that are under $500,000, those guys
Hmm.
can typically run without these tools. So the MSPs, once they get up to after 50,000,
Yeah.
$500,000, going up to $1 million, that's when they start to really build stride in what
Yeah.
they have going on.
For
And
sure.
Vicky, that I wrote a business evaluator.
Just going to mention that. Yeah, Paul provides a fantastic blueprint on how to scale your business to the next level. So, Paul, take it away. Tell everyone about the blueprint, about the business evaluation, and where everyone can find you. And we'll
Yeah,
we'll
no
go from there.
problem. Well, basically, the MSP puts in four parameters: their business name, the yearly revenue, how many employees they have, and
Hmm.
how many outsourced organizations you're using, including the marketing, the web design, and stuff like that. And so, basically, after you put in these parameters, it'll tell you in which peer group you are. It'll tell you how much your business is worth. It'll
Nice.
also tell you what you're doing well, and then I'll tell you where you need to be spending some more time and focus on your business to accelerate your business to the next peer group. Whether you're at $1 million, you want to get to $3 million, it'll tell you pretty well on what you need to concentrate on to get your business up to the next peer group, and also even give you a budget based upon your revenue.
That's a handy tool to have in your toolkit.
And it's a back of the envelope. Yeah, it's a back of the envelope type of thing. I'm only asking 4 questions, but at least it gets a conversation started, because there's no 2 exactly the same. Yeah. But at least it gets a conversation started. It establishes some baselines, and then you go ahead and you tweak from there. And I'm available for those tweaks. And if you download the evaluator, and you can find the evaluator from Biz Advisory Board, that's BIZ advisoryboard.com. Also from MSP tag.com for Trusted Advisor Group. Awesome. You can contact me, 407-461-0061, by phone, by text, by WhatsApp,
by fax, by pigeon carrier.
By pigeon carrier, there you go. I'm not a VAR anymore, Vicky. But anyways, what I'm offering is that, if you want to go through that business evaluator, and I'll give you a free 30 minutes if you want to kind of go through and see how it applies to you. And, we'll get some stuff done in 30 minutes strategy session, and hopefully pay off and make our market and make this whole MSP space better, stronger, faster.
Great, Paul. Thank you so much for being live with 5. And we'll see you soon. Take care.
Thank you, Vicky.
Bye.
Bye.